Hello, this is Chris Vogt, your host today at the Realtors Commercial Alliance of Orange County, or of California, since the Realtors Commercial Alliance is the only association of realtors in the state of California that is dedicated to commercial real estate. And today we're doing a workshop called Cutting Edge Technology for Commercial Real Estate Agents and Brokers. And so we're going to launch today by introducing the president of the RCAOC. That's Gary Martinez. And so he'll come sit here and then I'll be back in just a second.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Just want to thank everyone for coming this morning. My name is Gary Martinez. I am a commercial real estate broker, like a lot of us here, right? And I am the president of Realtors Commercial Alliance. And so basically what we do for Realtors Commercial Alliance, we have a couple of goals that we're always trying to accomplish, right? And we're trying to do that here today. A couple of things we're looking to do is we're looking to give you the tools to make you more profitable in your business. At the same time, we want to make sure we're out here introducing you to the people that are involved in commercial real estate, right? Not all of us here are brokers, not all of us here are lenders. A lot of us have different aspects that we're able to come to bring to the table. So our goal is to have you meet the people that are involved in commercial real estate to help you with your business and ultimately help grow your business. So want to give a big thank you to our board of directors, big thank you to Chris, for putting on this entire event. He's the one that kind of spearheaded it all. So Chris, thank you so much. Also want to give a big thank you to all of our sponsors. There's no way we could do things that we do at the cost that we do without our sponsors. So want to give a big recognition, a big thank you to them. And so we have Omnia Dini, right? We have Asheville Associates. We have Service Masters, Fidelity Bancorp Funding. And so we have a lot of people here that are supporting us. And so if any of those names resonate with you, we encourage you to reach out to those folks and support them as they're supporting here at our chapter as well. So we do have quite a bit of events that we're mindful of putting on consistently. So if you are a member of RCAOC, we want to thank you for your membership. If you're not a member, I want to encourage you to talk to Deborah about becoming a member as well. Some of the things that we do, every single month we put on the tools for success, where we have an opportunity where we bring in a speaker, talk about a various topic. We have networking events, either online or in person. And once a month we do a workshop, and the workshop is a time where we roll up our sleeves, get a little bit dirty, and then kind of teach you a little bit more as to some aspect that we do with commercial real estate. So with that, again, thank you everyone for being here. We're here to help you. We're here to support you. We do have a number where, if you recall, Deborah, if you find yourself in a situation where you need a referral, you need a document, you need a better idea on how to approach a situation, we got a lot of people here in our organization that can help you with that, and it's all part of your membership as well. So with that, thank you everyone for being here. Again, my name is Gary Martinez. I'm here to support you. Our members are here to support you as well. So whatever you do to help you, just let us know. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Gary. All right, and for those of you who are joining us via Zoom recording here, the website to learn more about the RCAOC is rcaoc.org. And so all our membership information and everything is up there. And this recording will actually be posted by our administrative assistant, executive assistant. What are you called anyhow, Deborah? Association executive. So anyhow, yeah, so we can open it up and put it on YouTube. Yeah, so I'll share the recording with you so you can post it on our YouTube channel. Awesome. All right, so just so everyone knows, because this is an association event, we are brokerage agnostic. We're not here to promote any brokerage, but sometimes brokerage names may come up, but we're not here to promote any particular brokerage. I want you to know that. So I have been involved in technology for a long time. Back in the 1990s, I hosted a technology radio show for over 6 years. And it was the #1 listened to radio show in my time slot in Sacramento, on all the radio stations, according to the Arbitrons. And so that was a lot of fun doing that. And so technology is something that I've always loved. And so each of our speakers that we have today, or each of the presentations, is to specifically highlight some technology. And hopefully everyone has keyed their presentation to show you how to make a little bit more money in your practice. And so we're going to start out with kind of a lot of people think that title and escrow is kind of like a boring subject, but it can be profitable, and there's a lot of tech in the background. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to share the screen here, is our friend John from Villa Title is going to be sitting here and doing a presentation on the tech tools that Villa Title offers. And I'm sure that other technology title companies have some tools similar to this, but I'm hoping that maybe there's some sort of an edge that you can show us why we want to do business with you. All right, so John, say your last name real quick.
Tavares.
Tavares, and he also has a partner, Dylan. Dylan, you gonna be speaking today?
Yeah, mostly back and forth.
Okay, Dylan, what's your last name?
Oh.
Clowen. All right, so anyhow, you guys make sure that you stay on screen there.
Perfect. Hello, everybody. My name is John Tavares, as Chris said, and this is Dylan. We're with Villa Title. Just to kind of start off, I need to look both ways. I'll say we're the largest title company no one's ever heard of. We're nationally licensed. We close on average around 10,000 transactions a month. We operate in both the residential and the commercial space. I think really kind of pioneering some different technologies in the commercial space. And then today we're going to talk to you guys about crypto in the title and escrow space, as well as some of our technology, as I know that's been a...
John, I apologize.
Oh.
I've got a tech product running in the background, and I don't know how to turn the sound off. So I'm just going to have to kill it. So I apologize.
No problem.
Because it sounds like it's coming through on the speakers, but this is a demonstration we're going to be doing in a little while. So apologize for that. Okay, we're back to you.
Perfect.
See, that always happens with tech, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so know Chris through EXP Commercial. I know I've seen a few familiar faces around here. We are EXP Commercial's preferred title and escrow provider. So work with them, and obviously being in the metaverse and operating that kind of system. Technology is on the forefront for both companies. So really looking to kind of push forward the tech piece in title. So like I said, we'll try and keep this exciting and uplifting, as I'm sure not everyone's super excited to talk about title and escrow at 9 a.m. On a Wednesday morning. But to kind of kick off, wanted to talk about crypto. As I said, it's been a kind of hot button, and all this kind of kick off of what cryptocurrency is. And basically, it's a form of digital currency that's decentralized, meaning it's not endorsed or backed by any of the central banks. Transactions are, tracked by a digital ledger, which is the blockchain, which we'll talk about that in the presentation as well. And really, the behind crypto technology is that you don't need a financial institution. Man, it's really peer-to-peer exchanges. Obviously in the last 5 years, crypto has kind of exploded with popularity, people trading it similar to stocks. There's a ton of volatility. And so it's, as people have amassed fortunes in the crypto space, we've seen a lot of wants and needs to buy real estate with it, right? To diversify their assets. So that's kind of what we want to talk to you guys about today. In the beginning, not sure what just happened.
Somehow you close the screen share.
Perfect. Off to a killer start.
Yay, tech. Tech wins 1. And is this yours? No, that's not yours. What happened to yours? Okay, I think you killed your presentation. I'm not sure how. Okay. So we'll reopen it. Okay, we're back up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, kind of want to talk to everyone here about the challenges in the crypto space with title. And so, beyond regulation, obviously, there's still a ton of stuff where it's, in the gray area, we'll call it, that a lot of states, it's federally, or it's on the state level, it's legal to do transactions, but on the federal level, it's not. Similar to cannabis banking, if you will, where it's legal on the state level, but it's illegal on the federal level. So people don't really know how to approach it. And besides regulation, the biggest thing is the volatility, right? So let's say, as all of you are very familiar, you come to terms on pricing, and let's say it's $1 million. And let's say at that time, it's, for simple math, it's 100 Bitcoin is going to equal $1 million. Well, in the time of that, due diligence period, let's say it's 60 days, that price can change to 50 or 100 Bitcoin can be worth $10 million, or it can be worth, 500,000, right? So the volatility is huge. And a lot of times even you'll see it in, you can go to sleep and Bitcoin is worth 70,000 in the morning, it's worth 20. So that really provides difficulties when you're trying to close a transaction, obviously, is how do you come to terms with what the actual payment's going to be, if it's tied directly to a Bitcoin number or a dollar amount that's constantly fluctuating 24/7, 365 days a year, has tons of impacts, right? And then let's say you tag it to a Bitcoin amount. Well, then if that dollar amount is changing and you say, okay, whatever the Bitcoin amount is, let's say it's just 100 Bitcoin, and I don't care if it's worth 2 million at the end of the transaction or $1 million. Well, then how do you factor in taxes? How do you factor in commissions? So a lot of times that's where we see a lot of these difficulties is in the crypto space. And so what we've kind of seen on that side is a lot of times people will come to a conclusion where, okay, we're going to do this transaction in Bitcoin, then it's really pegged to a dollar amount, and either they transfer the Bitcoin right then and there, but obviously not using an escrow company, which provides its own complications, right? Then how do you know the person's actually going to transfer the property to you, et cetera? Or they convert directly into US dollars. It's held by an escrow company. You go through the due diligence, and then it's then converted back into cryptocurrency at the end of the transaction. So that's kind of the challenges you'll see. And then obviously, like I talked about in the beginning, the regulation around it. And really a lot of that stems from people being unfamiliar with it, right? You have state regulators, federal regulators who have no idea what, or even an example of people trading real estate in the crypto space, right? There's nothing to peg it to, unlike when they're changing policy and regulation. Okay, here's a sample size of people who have done it, and this is what will happen, or here's an estimate, right? Crypto is so new to the space, people still don't even fully understand what a cryptocurrency is. So that's really the biggest thing kind of holding it back, and really the challenges in closing real estate transactions, especially commercial transactions in the crypto space. So there are some workarounds. Obviously, you hear about title and escrow companies closing transactions in the crypto space, the biggest states being California and Florida, which seem to be the most progressive and most aggressive towards the crypto technology space. But really what you actually see is what I talked about, is you have a peer-to-peer exchange where, let's say Dylan and I are going to enter an agreement and sell a commercial building. We've come to terms on price. Well, instead of to account for that volatility, I'm just going to send 100 Bitcoin directly to Dylan, and then we're going to go through the due diligence process. Or let's say we're not even having a due diligence process, but then there's still that outlier of, let's say Dylan just then takes my untraceable Bitcoin and then never talks to me again. And we say we had this agreement that we were going to transition a property and I was going to receive the deed, but that never happens because there's no, he now has the Bitcoin. So there's just really a lot of, vulnerability to the buyer in that aspect if you're going to go through the peer-to-peer aspect as well. And then, obviously, like I talked about in the beginning, how do you then calculate what a broker is going to make on commissions? How is that going to be paid out? Is that going to be paid out in cryptocurrency? Is it going to be, converted into cash, or is, there's some calculation where the buyer sends the seller, directly, let's call it, 98 Bitcoin. They're going to convert 2 of their Bitcoin into cash, pay the broker their commission and pay taxes through that way as well. So really, there's just not a lot of standard processes, and there's a lot of risk to both you and your clients going through this peer-to-peer way. The way we would suggest is obviously using a title and escrow company. And what you can do is basically, like I said, once you execute an LOI, come to terms on a price, immediately send the Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency you're using to that title and escrow company. They then convert it into cash. So then it's pegged to a monetary US dollar amount. They then take that to pay taxes, pay commissions. And then once the transaction closes, the deed's recorded, that title company then converts it into Bitcoin and sends it to the seller. Obviously, there's volatility in that, like we talked about, because now you're converting out of Bitcoin. And let's say in that due diligence period, Bitcoin now skyrockets in price. Well, it's all pegged to that dollar amount. So when you go to convert it, it's not going to be what you originally agreed to. But, like I said, there's also complications in that, because you really have to have an ironclad contract. So all parties are on the same page of what's going to happen, regardless of the volatility around the cryptocurrency. So those are kind of the 2 workarounds we've seen using cryptocurrency to close in the space, which we currently operate in. I think, one note I'd say on this is obviously there was a ton of push when Bitcoin and Ethereum were, at the highest they've ever been. Now that crypto's kind of cooled off, you see less demand for it in the space, but I do think it will come back. And then, kind of just hitting on the overall crypto space, we just saw our first, I think it was about a month ago, crypto company that's going down by the SEC for fraud and embezzlement. So obviously you're more susceptible to that with kind of this gray area, having less regulation around it. But it is still possible to close in the crypto space. We have done it before, but like I said, it's generally on a smaller dollar amount of a property, and there's a lot of kind of extra hair and weeds. So just to be prepared for that as you, if your client's interested in the crypto space with real estate. Yeah, so you can, and like I said, we see that, okay, hey, the purchase price is going to be $1 million, tax is going to be this, commission is going to be this. They will pay that. And that's what I was talking about. If you liquidate just the 2, let's say it's 100 Bitcoin, you liquidate 2 Bitcoin to pay for the taxes, pay for the commissions. But then this is where we've seen it get confusing, is because after that, it's just sitting in Bitcoin and you tag it to a dollar amount or a Bitcoin amount. Well, when you agreed to sell your property for $1 million, in 60 days, that Bitcoin might now only be worth 500,000. And so then it blows up the whole deal, right? It's like, well, now you owe me double that amount of Bitcoin. Well, that person doesn't have that amount of Bitcoin. So the volatility thing is really just kind of an outlier and something you're going to have to account for. So you need to find someone who's willing to accept that and understands the volatility and the regulation around a non-traditional sale, if you will. Right. Or if it's a dollar amount, that party just obviously needs to understand that could change how many Bitcoin they're going to need to put up, either for a positive or a negative, right? I mean, it could work in either party's favor. So yeah, going to keep going on. Well, I guess I should stop there and see if there's any questions around just the cryptos currency. Okay. Yeah. The question was, when closing a transaction, if you can only liquidate the amount of Bitcoin needed for taxes and commissions, et cetera, which you can, but then that still leaves the volatility of the full amount of Bitcoin when you're going to close the property in 30, 60, 90 days. And then we're going to get into blockchain, which has been big in the title space. I'll hand it over to Dylan.
Yeah, so blockchain is actually kind of more. Got it. I think I should be. Sorry. So blockchain is actually kind of the more exciting part of the crypto world and title. A lot of people, when blockchain and crypto came out, there was a lot of talk about how it was going to put title to an end, which is actually the complete opposite. Blockchain makes title a lot stronger. So blockchain is a digital ledger that tracks and records all variations of a crypto transaction, and not just a crypto transaction, it also records all digital information. So the ledger is updated and stored online. It's in a cloud. It can be accessed at any time, and it gives a customer full transparency of everything that has happened on the chain of title. So essentially, what will happen in the future moving through blockchain is that you will see that an entire chain of title will be recorded onto blockchain digitally. When that happens, not only does it speed up the transaction, it also prevents fraud. And the reason that that happens is that every time that any type of information is recorded on blockchain, it has to be recorded with a digital fingerprint. So the way that that works is that essentially every time you're changing the blockchain ledger, it's stamping you digitally to that change, meaning that there can't be anyone that goes in and fills something out manually, hands it off to the courthouse, and now all of a sudden there's fraudulent documents. It doesn't work that way. So because everything is linked to you digitally and your identity, your digital identity, there's really a safety net that fraud becomes very difficult in using blockchain. The other thing that's great about blockchain is that it will speed up the process of finding title on any property, and this works great in commercial especially, in that you will be able to access that information almost instantaneously. So rather than having to go in, and I'll preface this, there will be times that you will still have to go in and manually look up information that has not been reported to blockchain. So if a courthouse hasn't gone over and brought everything digitally into blockchain or doesn't have digital recording, there will be times that you will still have to go manually search for title. But as the world, and it's interesting when we talk about this world because this is all really, really new. Even though it's been around for a few years, it is not a perfect science yet, and it needs time to kind of mature. But with time, we will see that a lot of our digital world, as Chris will show you the metaverse today, is going to switch into blockchain, crypto, metaverse work worlds. This is the way of the future, and it isn't going to go anywhere. So as people start to bring this information to blockchain, you will see title enhance in speed and safety, and that you will be able to access a chain of title via the internet. And essentially, you'll have every single piece of title that has been recorded digitally. You'll have the timestamp of everything that has happened and the fingerprint of who it recorded with all in one place, so that everything is basically perfectly available to you instantaneously, which will speed up transactions. Current state and federal regulation will need to change in order to accept and adapt more to the digital world. But the positive to blockchain is that there's real case studies showing that this can be used in real estate and that it is actually feasible. So as we kind of go through this transition right now, you will see that this becomes more readily available. And as it becomes more readily available, you will have access to this, and you eventually will have your own digital fingerprint that you'll be able to follow a chain of title as an owner. And then just want to touch base as well. The biggest kind of barrier to entry on the blockchain side is all counties will need to be kind of digital ledger. I think there's 3,200 counties in the United States.
and about 55% of them are e-record, able, and hold your records digitally. But until every county has a way to accept the records being submitted digitally and has it on a digital platform, we won't be able to use the blockchain technology. It's kind of going off. Dylan just said, you know, is that you be able to pull a full title report and tell us that you be able to get that instant put in the address, you pull down the full anything that we can pull down to office. So really what takes the cost and speed to be able to close and just introduce you better with control stuff in the space pretty much overnight once it gets to the ballot. You know, in summary, basically, in blockchain, the crisis space is really holding back policy making. News will also have these new technologies and stuff come forward. We're really going to have those changes. I think the new blockchain and cryptocurrency blockchain start to see quicker because, like, we'll talk about their physical I see stuff on like Inform where they flashed it, where it was picked off the street in this week by this person, it was put into this bin on this page this time, it moves here, it's sorted at this facility, right? You can tie that directly to this and well, it needs to be reported, who bought it, who was the vendor, etc. It's a lot easier to draw a parallel from real world examples of what is being used to be able to look at that to create policy in the business space, whereas on the cryptocurrency space, there's a lot of policy. That changes, I think that would be slower. But I think, you know, even through our cryptocurrency in Manila, you know, we have a lot of people out in DC, we're very active with the FDA, CMBA as well. There's been a lot of push with regulation policy through NAR as well to see changes in this space. So, you know, we're pretty bullish on kind of the digital aspect of it. So now I want to move on to just a little bit about
Bill of title and what we do.
I think the biggest thing that we do is companies in the title space is typically centralized operation desk, meaning that we have single point of contact with your customers. Understanding that a lot of you guys have a lot of
Local clients, and especially Orange County in Southern California, we have an office right here in Aliso Viejo. I live in Austin, Texas, but Dylan is here as well. Then, you know, as you have your clients who, let's say, want to buy an industrial building or 1031 exchange out of their long-term asset in California and want to buy a building in Texas, that same closer who handles your transactions locally will also handle your transaction in Texas or any state that they're closing in. And the reason we did this is really to kind of put that consistent level of service on a nationwide basis. Is that from the commercial space, when you have the transaction kind of all over, you know, there's really a lot of inconsistencies of service level from the title space. And we're able to do that through our technology. I know that's what we're going to dive into a little bit more, but we've built our technology from the ground up. We spent close to $10 million and really starting to pioneer and move the closing process into the 21st century. You know, we're able to do that through, like I said, tech we built out. But you know, so we have a client portal for each and every individual agent that you can have on your phone or any through the internet. You're able to see exactly where your files are, with notes, which really drives on that speed to closing, and then also providing a ton of data and reporting to be able to educate your buyer or seller or your representative seller when they come in and what they do to have a quicker closing. And then while I kind of talk about
Yeah, so we use two main platforms at this time to go through our property profiling and farm reporting. Essentially, the two databases that we're using are going to be able to pull really any type of information that you're looking on for your first steps of your commercial property. So I always recommend that, you know, when you have a new listing, reach out for a property profile. That's the first thing that you want to get going for you. It gives you a comprehensive overview of the property itself. Essentially, it's going to go through square footage, everything that the property entails, pricing, chain of title. It's going to go through any liens on the property, how the property chain has changed. It'll go through a comparables report, which I will say is not always an exact science, especially when it comes to land, as Chris and I just went through this week. But there are some workarounds there where we can kind of find base levels. So I'll work with you directly if there's ever a time that once we put you on the platform, you're like, you know what, I'm just not seeing a comparable on here. You can reach out to me anytime and I'll kind of dig through that and see what we can find. But that becomes very helpful when you're looking at pricing things, because you can see what the sale of similar properties within the same square footage, or within the vicinity, or within really any other criteria that you're looking for has sold at. So that's going to be super helpful to you as you go through that. But then, you know, the same platform that we're using is going to go into farming, and farming is what I spend probably, I'd say a solid 70% of my time on with agents. And essentially I'm looking to work with you directly on farming rather than you do it on your own. So the first thing I like to do is I'll usually set up a Zoom call with you so that we can go through what it is that you're looking to farm. And with that, you know, I like to hone in on kind of a narrow criteria for you, where if there's a certain aspect of commercial you work in, I obviously want to work, you know, solely in that space. If you want to cast a wide net, you can do that as well. But what's great about our farming criteria is that we can go down to really, really granular levels of farming. So we can get into exact street names, exact zones, neighborhoods. We can go into commercial institutions, farming, industrial, land. I have an agent that I work with that only works in storage units. I have an agent that I work with that only works in gas stations. So we can kind of start looking at that together at exactly what it is that you like to sell. And then with that, I'll help you build a farm, put together your 5-line profile, pull any property profiles on properties that you have looked at that look interesting to you. I'll pull the labels for you. And then essentially what we'll do is, as we kind of start building out your first farms, you know, we'll circle back 2 weeks, 3 weeks into it, and we'll start retailoring your farm based on what worked and what didn't work, or where we're finding hits or where we're not finding hits, or whether or not we need to start looking at a different area. So that's kind of the biggest thing that I try to look at when I'm farming with everyone is, how do we make sure that we're looking at exactly what you're comfortable with, where you're comfortable selling, and then a price point that you're interested in selling in, and whether or not it's a certain square feet you like to work in, or if you want to work in multifamily, or if you want to work in specifically industrial. I'll start going through all of that with you, and we'll start tailoring your farm specifically to what you like to work in as a commercial agent or broker.
Yep, perfect. And then also, as we wrap up here, I don't want to take too much of everyone's time, but you know, where Villanova separates itself is with the technology that we've built. So we're the #1 user of AI and bot technology in the title space. So really, like I said, trying to kind of push forward the technology in title. And the reason we're doing that is that we have bots and we'll auto move in title, and we'll place orders that will download information, upload information, and really what we're doing is cutting down costs. You and your client, you're cutting down on turn times because bots don't need to sleep; they're working at all hours of the night. So we're getting, you know, that title commitment back to you guys quicker, saving you guys on costs, and then because you have bots and everything working on that, you're not getting faster information and everything like that. You're cutting down on human error as well, and then we layer it on top of that single point of contact. So you all have someone working with you who kind of we've got this kind of next level technology that we're layering on a single point of contact and service, so that it's quicker to flow for you guys. You can be out there handle your client while we're providing everything. It's speeding up the closing process from funding. So that's kind of the end of our presentation. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys taking time to we'll be here all day. So Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, John and Dylan. We really appreciate you guys. And everyone should know that Bill of Title actually is one of our sponsors for today's event. And so without them, we would not have been able to afford this beautiful room down here in Newport Beach to hold this event. So thank you very much, Bill of Title. Awesome. And while we're talking about sponsors, we also have Pacific Patriot commercial insurance brokers. And so we've got Brandon and Ben who are here. And so if any of you have had some donuts or some of the Kind bars or some of the drinks and stuff in the back of the room, you know, they've been our snack and drink sponsor today. So thank you very much for doing the shopping and providing those drinks and snacks for us. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to learn about some new technology that is happening in the lending space with our friend Mitch from ComLoan. And where did your president, it looks like, hang on. I think when the other thing crashed, it also crashed Mitch's presentation. So let me bring that up. Yep. Share. Just use the arrow, the down arrow and the up arrow. Yeah. So, Mitch.
All right, guys. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. My name is Mitch Ginsburg from ComLoan. We're based out of Scottsdale, Arizona. So just great to be in Newport. Still a little warm in Arizona, so it's nice to be in the cool climate. So let's see if this thing will advance. Aha. So I'm going to go back a few years when looking at technology and really look at what technology's done, how it's really changed humanity, and how the time frame of those changes is compressing as technology evolves. So sort of to go back and look at us, and for probably about 200,000 years, our ancestors sort of roamed the earth as hunters and gatherers, and that's how they sustained themselves. And then really for about 1200 years, we had the agricultural revolution where people were able to stay in one space and grow crops, raise livestock, and that enabled them to sort of stay in one space. And then along came the Industrial Revolution, which, believe it or not, only lasted for about 250 years. The silicon chip, which really from a technology point of view was the driver for computing and to enable huge amounts of data to be computed and stored in a relatively small space, really is about 64 years old. Then the internet was developed where you have the connectivity of all these different platforms and computers is probably about 53 years old. And then, believe it or not, online platforms is only about 33 years old. So the illustration is we go from mankind doing the same thing for literally 200,000 years, then 12,000 years, then 250 years, down to almost like 64 years, 50 years, 33 years. So you could see how the timeline of technological advancement is compressing, and it's all a result of technology, and it's really going exponentially. You know, John was talking about blockchain and crypto, which is literally just all a few years old. And that's all been brought about through the advancements, of the computing power of the physical hardware, as well as the connectivity and the amount of data that can be transferred through fiber optics, et cetera, et cetera. So the connectivity is getting better and better and better. And the physical hardware is getting more and more advanced and able to compute a lot more. So these are just some household names, which literally 30 years ago, you know, we would have thought, well, what are you talking about? So you look at Netflix. Netflix came about, because of the internet and because of the connectivity and the, you know, broadband that you could you know, transport huge amounts of data. Obviously, video is a lot more data than just, you know, single you know, typed data that you're transporting. So Netflix came about because of that. The granddaddy of changing really human behavior on the consumer product side is obviously Amazon. So let's take a step back with Amazon. Probably 20 years ago, if we would have said Amazon, most of us would have said, well, you know, what is that? It's some company that's sort of trying to sell books or something online. But really what Amazon did was really two things to change human behavior. The first thing they did, which was huge, is obviously through their search engine, gave the individual or the buyer access to huge amounts of data and huge amounts of product. So you could go online and search and find the product, but that wasn't where they stopped. And quite honestly, that was just part of their impact. The bulk of their impact was really redefining the whole buying experience through their fulfillment and tracking. We take it for granted now. You buy anything online and you automatically know, all right, it's getting shipped from here and it's going to go there, and you can go and you can track it. As well as, so they really were the pioneers for enabling you to track your product online, but more importantly, their fulfillment time. So, you know, back in the day, if you ordered something online in the early days, if you got it within a couple of weeks, this is like amazing. You know, I bought this thing, you know, clear across the other side of the country, and it arrived here in 2 weeks. That's unbelievable. Today, you can get it the same day. And so they're constantly pushing the boundaries of improving that buyer experience. So, you know, something that Jeff Bezos said, and I remember a podcast back in the mid-90s, which he said, technology is great, the internet's great, but it all comes down to customer experience. In our industry, it all comes down to the buyer and seller experience and how technology, and we'll look in a little bit, is influencing that buyer and seller experience. You then got Airbnb. Who would have thought that many years back, you would willingly go and just go and live in somebody's house for a vacation? Or Uber, just get into a total stranger's car and have him drive you or her drive you across town. It was unheard of. Technology has enabled that, you know, by you know, tracking when you got into the car, which car you got into, so you feel a lot safer. And it's really created an environment where it's really redefined transportation. And back in New York, I'm sure you guys are familiar, the taxi cab medallions were worth, I don't know, probably at the peak about $1 million. And now they got, you know, a fraction of that, just purely because of how disruptive Uber and Lyft have been. And then you just get into a whole bunch of other online platforms, Match, where people are meeting online. So what really technology has enabled, on the one hand, you can have a lot of data of this is what's available, and then the user can go in and type in what they're looking for, and the technology matches that user with what's available. And you would look at any online platform, whether it's, you know, Priceline or Orbitz or Travelocity on travel, or obviously Match or any other dating site where you key in the criteria of the person you'd like to meet, and the technology basically matches you. So I think we've sort of gone through the detail on this. Talking about maybe the travel industry, and that'll sort of tie in with a little bit of what Comloan is doing. So in the old days, when we would travel, we would go to a travel agent, right? And that travel agent would match you with a particular airline or a particular hotel. Was that the best? Probably not, but that's who they had relationships with. Fast forward today, and you've got Priceline, Orbitz, Travelocity, and then you got further aggregators like Trivago, etc. So really any traveler has access to the world hotels, world airlines at the press of a button. Do you see a travel agent on every street corner now? No. There's still a few travel agents available, but they are very specialized. You know, I want to, you know, a mule pack trip through the Himalayas, and they got to all, you know, there's a million moving parts to it that you would still use a very specialized travel agent for. But 99% of travel agents have gone away. Technology has disrupted that industry and redefined the experience, giving obviously the traveling public a far better experience utilizing technology. Even big brick and mortar companies like PetSmart, which has 15,000 stores, and just very familiar with their story because the CFO of PetSmart is on our board of directors. They still went ahead and bought Chewy's, which was an online platform, recognizing that even though they've got this massive brick and mortar presence, that you need to go ahead and have far more of an online platform. So let's look at commercial real estate, and I guess that's why we're here, and look at some of the technologies really that have disrupted commercial real estate. So you first look at LoopNet, which is the same as CoStar. CoStar is really the granddaddy of capturing data for commercial real estate. They then have they went ahead and bought LoopNet, which LoopNet really is an online listing platform. But once again, this is really just giving the consumer or the buyer access to a huge amount of data. You then have 10X, which is an online auction platform. You have BuildOut, which is a CRM data management and marketing tool. And then obviously ComLoan. And what ComLoan is we're an online commercial real estate lending platform. So let's talk about ComLoan and what we do. So commercial real estate lending is very different to residential. You know, residential, you have limited product. You have, you know, a 30-year fixed, a 15-year fixed, maybe a couple of intermediate adjustables, and you have very limited property types. You got a single family home, you maybe got a condo, you've got a, you know, duplex, triplex, fourplex, that's it. Those are your total property types. Commercial is really the antithesis of that. Firstly, you've got so many different types of lenders. You got the banks, and not all banks are created equal. You have federally chartered banks, state chartered banks, community banks, credit unions. You have the CMBS lenders, which is the commercial mortgage-backed security lenders. You have life companies, you have debt funds, you have Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac on the multifamily. You have this vast array of lenders, and they all have different guidelines. They all will lend to on different property types in different geographic areas. So very, very, very confusing. As far as property types, you have once again a huge array of property types. You got your what we call the four main food groups, right? Retail, industrial, office, and multifamily. But then you have hospitality. You have, you know, all your single purpose like gas stations and self-storage and you name it. So there's all these different property types, and then not all hospitality is created equal. You have full service, limited service, flagged, unflagged, open corridor, closed corridor. Every lender's got a specific kind of a property that they're willing to lend on. How do you know if the lender you're going to is willing to lend on that type of property? And they all have various geographic locations that they're willing to lend on. So it's very, very, very confusing for any commercial borrower as to where to go and where is the best opportunity for them. So I guess ComLoan is the solution. What we've done is we've created a database where we capture about 30 key variables that are common for any lender. What is their lending footprint? Where do they lend? Some lenders will lend in a particular city, some in a particular county, some in a particular state, but we'll capture this is where they lend. Then every lender has a minimum and maximum loan size. The minimum we'll lend is $1 million, the max is 50 million. So we capture their lending range as far as the dollar amount. The third variable will be, well, what kind of properties do you lend on? We'll drill in specifically on the property types that lender will lend on. You then have some of your algorithms like debt coverage ratio and global debt coverage ratio, but those are mathematical calculations which are obviously built into our search engine. Is it recourse or non-recourse? If it's recourse, what does the sponsor look like? What is their citizenship? What is their credit score? What is their net worth? What is their liquidity? What is their income? What is their debt? Have they filed bankruptcy? Have they not? These are all variables that the lender is going to look at in determining, do they want to work with that particular borrower? So we have those 30 or so sizing up variables for every single lender on our platform. We have currently probably in excess of 700 lenders on our platform. We're adding 30 a month. That represents in any given day, and I actually looked at the spreadsheet because I was sharing it with a particular blockchain company. We have probably about 170,000 loan records that are changing every single day. What's enabled us to do that? Technology. We have algorithms that are built which change the pricing as the various indices change. Loans could be linked to the swap or to the T-bill or to whatever the bank rates are. Our system will automatically update the rates. The lenders have a portal that they can go in, which they can say, all right, we'll no longer lend in this geographic area, or we want to reduce our loan to value on that particular property type. So the information is kept current all the time. Our data is kept current all the time, which is 170,000 loan records on a daily basis, which obviously would be very, very difficult to do on a manual basis. Our actual search engine, we very fondly named as Cupid, which stands for Commercial Underwriting Pricing Index Data, which was pretty cool. We're pretty happy about the whole Cupid thing we got going there. So we got a proprietary lender database. And the exciting part is the borrower gets a portal that they work from. The lender gets a portal that they work from. So it's very secure. There's no going back and forth with emails or faxes. And believe it or not, we still had a borrower ask us what our fax number was. And it's like one of our transaction analysts came up to me and said, Mitch, do we have a fax? I said, well, what is a fax? I'm not sure what that is. So even emails are very, unsecure. So we work within a self-contained ecosystem where the borrower uploads all their documents directly through the system. They track the status of their loan on the system. They get all their lender quotes through the system. The lender quotes through our system. The lender reviews our package through the system. The lenders love us because here's an MBA statistic. More than 2/3 of all commercial real estate loans funded are originated by third parties. So we're not changing the lender's behavior. They're used to getting their loans from somewhere else, but where have they been getting them from? Lots and lots of small mortgage brokers out there who are sending the loans to the lenders. The analogy that I'm drawing is the mortgage broker is the travel agent of the commercial lending industry. They have access to a limited number of lenders. It's a very manual process. And we're the orbits or Travelocity of the commercial lending space. We recognize we're dealing with a high dollar product. It's not like you're just going online and buying a TV. So we recognize the consumer's not ready for a fully automated process where they're not talking to a human being. I don't think many people are going to go and buy a $5 million property, key in the information and sort of wait for documents to arrive online, 5 weeks later or 6 weeks later. They want to talk to somebody. So we match the borrower up with a very seasoned loan consultant right up front. So it would be like sitting with their favorite bank loan officer. And that person will counsel with them to ensure that ultimately they're going to get the best transaction. So what we're doing, very similar to what Villa Title is doing, is we're combining the best of that high personal touch with technology. Well, this is slide's outdated. It's 700 plus. We're adding about 30 lenders to our platform a month. And obviously we have all the major lenders on our system. We have all the major agency lenders, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. We have all the big national banks, Citi, Wells, B of A, Chase. And for example, the big banks, they really represent probably 7 or 8 profiles on our system, because you have your CMBS lenders within a bank. Like, say you could have, looking at B of A, they got a CMBS, they got their private banking, which is for high net worth individuals, where they'll do amazing things because they want access. So we just did closed a loan for a guy, probably had about a $200 million balance sheet. B of A private banking loved this guy, and they gave this guy rates that he could not have found himself, purely because they want access to him and to potentially securing him as a client. But then there's the middle market lending, there's SBA, there's the multifamily side. So each big bank really represents probably several different lending profiles within our system. But then you obviously have all the smaller lenders, and the real power comes from the small community banks and credit unions within a small geographic region. So say Northern California, you know, we'll bring on board all the community banks and credit unions that are very active by property type. So who's really active in multifamily, who's really active in industrial, who's really active in office, and we make sure we have those lenders on our platform to ensure that the borrower is getting the best possible choices. There are other entities out there that are claiming to be online platforms, StackSource, Janova, traditional broker, but the reality, what we've got the integrated cloud-based lending platform. We've got the borrower matching, the search engine which matches the borrowers. We have representatives that hold the borrower's hand throughout the process. In the beginning, they talk with a loan consultant, and then through the rest of the process, we allocate a transaction manager who really holds that borrower's hand all the way through to funding. We will do online quotes. So the minute a commercial real estate broker puts a listing up, our technology has the ability of going ahead and posting the best loan options for that listing. We're currently integrated with an online platform called Brevitas. They have, I don't know, 80,000 plus listings. So every time they put a new listing up, we have the artificial intelligence written that our system will look at where's that property located, the size of the deal, the cap rate or the NOI, and post the 3 best current live options that fit for that particular property. We're integrating with a few commercial real estate brokerages. We obviously the preferred lending partner for eXp Realty, but we're also doing it for Coldwell Banker Commercial, where we're integrating with their platform and onto all their listing. I guess that's it. Anybody got any questions? Okay. All right. Okay. So the question is, what is our range of lending capabilities? What is the smallest transaction? What is the largest transaction? And what do we do? Okay. So I think it'll be easier to tell you what we don't do, and then we'll get into the range. So the only transactions we currently don't lend on, which fall within commercial, is ground up construction, because that's just got a lot of moving parts, and we're just really not ready there from a tech point of view to deal with it. And the second thing is land, because land is it's a very subjective in how it's underwritten. There's not very clearly set guidelines in order to size up a land deal. So land and ground up construction is what we don't do. We do everything else. We'll do rehab, we'll do value add, we'll do stabilized properties, and over every other property type. The minimum loan size we currently do is $1 million, and there's no maximum. We're busy working on a fully automated journey currently, which will have a lot of artificial intelligence. Probably 50% of it's built. We have our own full-time tech team. We have an office in India where our tech team live. We've had that office for about 7 years. But we're busy building a fully automated journey. And what that's going to mean is that the borrower literally, it'll be fully automated from beginning to end with very little human interaction. What that does for us is it brings down our variable cost on that transaction. But what that means is we're going to be able to do really small transactions. We'll do anything below $1 million, and maybe we'll cap it at $250,000 up to $1 million. But what's very important is we don't want to compromise that borrower experience. And that's why it's taken an enormous amount of time in development and working with our product specialists to ensure that that borrower will get the same level of experience as if they were dealing with a live loan consultant up front. So very intuitive and creating a really seamless journey for that borrower. My goal, and you can see my fingers are crossed, is to have that go live sometime Q1 next year, hopefully by the end of Q1. But currently, as of today, our minimum loan amount is $1 million. Any other questions, guys? Yes.
Well, first of all, I think really done a great job.
Thank you.
But, my question is, your system also going for helping business loans for buying businesses, not just real estate?
Yeah. Currently, it's just real estate. So it's just geared towards the real estate lending. Down the line, we probably will add business lending. But like any online platform, you got to start with a very clearly defined and as it is, our product range is so huge. There is so much commercial real estate available and so many different types and sizes, and we obviously nationwide. So, but we will at some point add business lending, but at this point it's restricted to just commercial real estate. There was another question. So we're an online platform. So we're based out of Scottsdale. We could be based out of anywhere, yeah, out of Noida in India, where our tech team is. It really doesn't matter. Because we're a cloud-based thing, we are nationwide, and I will absolutely 100% guarantee that the borrower experience is going to be better than working with the bank next door to your office.
And I'll jump in there. Just because we've worked with Commonwealth, I've sent a few referrals over there, and I think that is the scary part of the commercial sector. Personally, my loan officer, their product with how they screen for, and then that individual contact is unbelievable. Every client that's I know has had unbelievable reviews, and realizing that they go to a CBRE or Chase or Wells and they're loan, and then talk to Commonwealth. It's like, oh, there's a small credit union based out of Dallas, Texas. Got an unbelievable rate for my property in Florida, right? So it's just their capabilities and technologies. Incredible.
Yes.
Do you also work with private money lenders?
Absolutely. We've got private money lenders on our platform, a whole bunch of them, in fact. So yeah, we'll do anything from hard money / private money through to debt funds, and then get into all the traditional stuff like life companies and CMBS. And the exciting part is how every lender type is going to react differently in different economic climates. So for the longest time on multifamily, the agency lenders were the most aggressive because they were based on the bond market, and the feds were buying up all these bonds, these mortgage-backed securities, to keep rates low, right? What's happening now is with the Fed tightening up and increasing interest rates, not only are they not buying bonds, but they're selling all the bonds that they bought. So what that does is the way that it works, when the bond prices drop, the yields go up. the rates go up. So besides the impact of what the bond buyers are doing and they're wanting higher returns because the Fed's increasing interest rates, you've got this flood of bonds coming onto the market that the Feds are selling. So that's further accelerating the increase in the prices on the bond market for Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac mortgage-backed securities, which is on the multifamily side. So their rates are much higher now than the bank rates. So we finding buyers. We just closed a loan on a $32 million transaction in Houston, Texas. Well, the loan was 32 million. I think it was about a 60-something million dollar multifamily deal. These are very seasoned buyers out of Los Angeles, who obviously have been in the business for 30 years, massive portfolio, probably about $1 billion multifamily portfolio. But they were just used to going and re-upping their deal at their agency lender. They had their agency lender, and they would just keep going back. But in these volatile times, they were thinking, my God, where do I go? The agency pricing is way up there. And we were able to place them with a bank in Texas at a significantly better rate. So it's quite funny. I mean, the two things have really helped ComLoan. First was COVID, because people had to be online and couldn't go into their bank. So it changed human behavior as far as being more comfortable with Zoom and online. And funnily enough, the second thing that's really helping us, which is almost counterintuitive, is rising interest rates. One would think rising interest rates, oh God, things are going to slow down for us. People are shopping online because they go to their current lender and they get sticker shock. It's like, oh my God, what happened to your rates? And we're able to find them a better alternative.
So the part that actually you're leading to part of the first point is that on your borrow management algorithm, that's like the commercial lending out here. You got a client thinking about commercial lending, you're like, yeah, you're the fourth kind of calling. So illegal for you guys.
We're the last guy they'll call. Absolutely, because with a very high, just purely the way we structured our database, with a very high sense of certainty, if we can't place it for them, it's probably not realistic. I mean, let's put it this way. If somebody's saying, I want to buy this $10 million building and I got $10,000 to put down, whether we ComLoan or whoever we are, we're not going to be able to get them a loan. So I think it's within the realms of what's realistically available. But if they're realistic, they're real, we'll get them the highest proceeds, the best interest rate, the best terms that fit their needs. And once again, that comes down to, we ask the borrower, what's important to you? Some importance might say, well, I want the highest leverage. So that's what we focus on for them. And maybe the rate's not as great as they could have got at a lower leverage, but we're focusing on what's important to them. And I'll end with this one thing here. We've got a poster in our office, the golden rule. Okay, you guys know all the golden rule is. He who has the gold makes the rules, right? And that's the golden rule. Up till now, the lenders or the banks have had the gold, right? They've got the money and they've made the rules. So you'd go to your bank and the bank will say, well, let me see how I can fit you in. And they try and twist and turn you to fit their parameters. We've got the golden rule framed upside down in our office because we want to empower the borrower. Money is a commodity. It doesn't matter whether it's coming from bank A, bank B, a dollar's a dollar. It really is not going to change. So what we've done is we say to the borrower, what is it that you want? What's important to you? Is it leverage? Is it interest rate? Maybe it's non-recourse. Maybe you don't want a prepayment penalty. So we rank the borrower's priorities, what's key to that borrower, and then match the borrower with the right lender. And then people say, well, I've got this relationship. I'll give you one real quick example on how relationship doesn't really matter. We closed a loan for a borrower here, just sold out of a tech company, huge net worth, $50–60 million, a lot of it liquid, had a substantial amount with a particular bank, had closed a lot of commercial real estate with that bank, was introduced to us by a commercial real estate broker from Ketter Matthews. And that commercial real estate broker said, try these guys. And because he was in tech, he said, all right, I'm going to try it. It just so happened his bank was on our platform. He was buying a property, a commercial building, wanted a $5 million loan. So he went went into our system, we keyed it in. His bank obviously came up because they were doing commercial loans within that area. The long and the short of it is we got his bank bid and bid and bid because they wanted to keep him as a client. We got his bank down 50 basis points on a $5 million loan than what they originally were going to give him as a preferred client. The relationship means nothing. It's one way. I mean, what are they going to give you, a checking account and a credit card? Any bank's going to do that for you. So at the end of the day, what we're looking to do is to level the playing field and empower the borrower. Yes, sir.
So now, do you offer any like broker commission or anything on the loan?
So we do have referral relationships with certain brokerages, but it's done at the broker house level. There are some licensing requirements. So, you know, there's certain states that require licensing for commercial real estate lending. California, Arizona, Nevada, North Dakota, South Dakota, and I believe those are the only 5. So in order to pay any kind of commission, there would be licensing. In California, though, through the CRE license, you can earn commissions, but it would have to be done at the brokerage level. We don't do it at the individual agent level. It's just too time consuming to track. And do they have a license? Don't they have a license? And we'll pay the brokerage, and then how the brokerage distributes the funds, that's up to them. All right, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Well, I don't know about you, but I've been learning quite a bit today. Has everyone been enjoying this so far? Learning about crypto, blockchain, title, farming, loan, how the loan industry is changing. I think it's all pretty cool. And what we're going to do now is we're going to launch a tech virtual reality platform, which is pretty cool. And let's go into share mode. And we're going to optimize for video. And it's always fun when you open and close programs while you're in the middle of something, because they leave artifacts of memory inside your processor. And so it took a little bit longer to load eXp World than normal. But this is eXp World. And the reason I'm showing this to you is because of the whole virtual reality thing. Facebook, they renamed the entire company Meta because of the metaverse, right? And so there's a lot of stuff happening. Oh, before you leave, real quick, I know it's getting late. We got 2 more presentations. And tonight at 5:30, we're having a little networking get together. If anyone is able to join us at El Torito, and you go in and then you say, hey, I want to go to the networking gathering that's in the back room. And so when you go in, it's way back in the back room. We're going to have that going on from 5:30 to about 7:30. So hopefully you can come. All right. So anyhow, this is a platform that is really fascinating to me. I joined the company, this particular company, over 5 years ago. And a lot of why I was looking at the company was because of tech and seeing how you can collaborate across vast distances. So when I first started, I was doing some residential real estate, but I'm not a resi guy. I have a background in commercial real estate. So actually have over 40 years of commercial real estate experience prior to getting my real estate license in 2017. And but I'm also a tech guy. I did a hostile takeover in the Silicon Valley in 1999. And I was telling you guys earlier, I did a tech radio show for over 6 years up in Sacramento. And so that was a lot of fun too. But what's really cool is seeing how technology is changing, and especially COVID has really accelerated that change. It's like, how many times in the past did we do Zoom meetings with clients before COVID? You did some, But now it's like you could do a lot more. When I launched a commercial real estate team, and I ended up having agents in 10 different states that I led a team of agents across 10 states. And the reason I was able to do that is because of technology and us being able to meet online and to be able to train and conduct business and to assist each other. And so, this whole technology thing, it's not just for our vendors, for the title companies and lenders and everyone else, but it's also for us so that we can do business across great geographic boundaries. And so I just want to give you a quick tour here of eXp World. And so when you launch into eXp World, you end up going to a landing place, and there is a welcome desk, and there's someone at the welcome desk. Let's see who's over here. Hey, Amy, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I'm actually doing a workshop. We got about 20 people in the room here in Orange County in Newport Beach. Where are you located, Amy?
I'm right outside of Chicago.
Just outside Chicago. Cool. Can everyone hear? Okay, let me turn the volume up just a little bit. All right. And how long have you been working here in the virtual world?
I've been with EXP for 4 years.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to go about our tour here. So thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, Chris. Bye-bye.
So the virtual world allows you to meet people and you never know where they're going to be from. I mean, like Amy's from Chicago. There was a person who was working operations for our state broker who was in South Korea, but you never know where people are going to be. In fact, like all the executives, all the brokers, everyone who you go to for accounting support, etc., they're all in world. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to go show a couple of short examples here, but let's go see the operations side of the commercial brokerage. So here is a online office, and the people who work in this office, they could be located anywhere in the world. And it's a lot of fun because you can go through different portals to go to see what's going on. So for example, you could come in here at midnight when no one is around, and you could go to the self-help vault. And you can see information, FAQs, getting started guide, what states the company's open, tools and partners, a lot of different information that's available in that little vault. And so you just go click on things and you get information. And there's even people that will rent office space in the virtual environment. And that's a whole different thing. But do you notice up here in the top left corner, it says there's actually 1,325 people currently using that virtual environment from all over the world. And we're in like 24 countries now. There's over 70,000 agents in the United States, and there's over 10,000 agents that are located outside the United States. And everyone has one portal that they can go into to collaborate. So let's go to an auditorium. I don't know what's going on in the auditorium. So this could be surprising or fun, or it could be nothing. And it looks like nothing is actually going on in the auditorium. But I've seen as many as And just because this is like one of the office spaces that, a company could rent, space. In fact, there are companies like, I think it's Lockheed Martin that has their own campus like this that is offered by Verbella, which is the provider of this technology. And they will use that for, their communications. There's a couple other Department of Defense contractors that are there. There's also Stanford University and several universities that have entire campuses and online learning environments. There's other companies that will use this for client meetings and for training and things. And one of the things that's cool is people are actually able to rent or own, they're owning it by the month, right? But they can create their own virtual environment. And in that virtual environment, they can conduct business. And as a broker, there's the opportunity to actually earn commissions on that space. So that's what I wanted to show you. And just quickly go over here so you can see. Looks like I'm drunk, huh? So like here's a conference room. And when you're in a conference room, up at the top, you can see that there's different layouts. So of course, it asked me to confirm that I want to do that so that if everyone is in there in a meeting or something, you don't just go in and everyone, stands up because their tables disappeared, right? So there's different layouts that you can have. And I just wanted to show that. And then the other thing is that there's screens. And so everyone actually can have a front row seat in whatever screen that they want to click on in the room. And when you're hosting a meeting or whatever, you can bring in Zoom, you can bring in other websites, you can bring in, all kinds of things. You can put your PowerPoint presentation up on the screen that all the participants in the room can see. And when we went into that auditorium, those auditoriums are resizable. So if you're going to have a gathering of 100 people, you can make it smaller. If you're going to have a gathering of 1,000 people, you can make it bigger or wherever it is. There's one other thing I want to show you before we go to our last speaker. And if you're considering trying to escape early, don't. And the reason is because our next speaker, it doesn't matter whether you're a commercial agent, a broker, or an affiliate, is going to be showing you how to make money online using a social media platform. So we're going to do that in just a second. But before we do, I'm going to show off one last thing. And where did it go? Here it is. All right, this is called Workplace. Now, is anyone in this room not on Facebook? Everyone's on Facebook? Oh, we got one person. Socially, yeah. Yeah, okay. So basically the Meta, it's no longer called Facebook, they have a product that is called Workplace. And so this is the workplace environment. It's like Facebook, but it's only for our brokerage. And so one of the things that I like most about this network is going in and getting referrals. And so just like people who are active on Facebook can get a lot of referrals for the real estate practice, I get most of my business actually from interacting with other real estate agents. And so I have a platform here that has 80,000 residential agents on it around the world. There's 11,000 in California, and I've created a reputation of being a go-to person for commercial real estate within that platform. And I actually get between 3 and 10 leads every week where I'm talking to someone about potentially doing a commercial deal with them. And so I just wanted to quickly show you that this is a viable platform that is real time, and you never know what you're going to see. So San Antonio, Bluefield, Virginia, Williamsburg, Virginia, Chicago, Illinois, but there's Mexico, all over the place that you see different different needs. And there's a sprinkling of commercial needs that are put in here. And so if you're one of those agents that is, I don't want to say trolling, but, watching, like a hawk, the social media platforms, you can actually gain some business. And in the 5 years that I've been licensed as a real estate agent, I can honestly say that every single transaction I've closed has been a referral. I'm 100% referral business. And I attribute that mainly to using a platform like this. So last thing we're going to do is we're going to have Bernard come up. And Bernard is the marketing manager. Is that the right word? Marketing director or marketing manager? What are you? He's the marketing guy. And for EXP Commercial, he was with Microsoft back in the day, and that's where he cut his teeth on marketing. And he's going to talk to us about a little platform called LinkedIn, and I'm sure all of you are familiar with that. And so, Bernard, do you want to have me log into my LinkedIn or? Okay, so but we're going to need you to sit here so that you're on the recording. Okay, so give me just a second. I didn't realize there was an email I had to grab. So hang on. Oh, before I do that, I'm going to hit pause for on the presentation. I got to turn off the background then, otherwise it won't see you. Just a second. Video. And how do we turn off the background? None. There you go. There it is. All right. So actually it's not being streamed at the moment. So, but we are recording this. Sorry. Okay. Thank you, sir. And we tried getting the clicker to work with this, but it didn't. You want me to? Okay. What happened to the video? I'm not seeing you. Oh, well.
Yeah, it'll still record.
Yeah,
it'll
it'll still record.
Yeah. All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for the invite as well. My name is Bernard Lola. I'm the Director of Marketing at ESP Commercial. My whole role and responsibility is to grow the brand both nationally and internationally. Before that, I was at Microsoft for a number of years under Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer, and I grew their brand and grew a number of brands of our clients. I basically know the ad space very well. We've managed millions of dollars in the ad space. And I promise in these next 15 minutes, I'm going to share with you a couple things. How to generate leads online. I'll give you a framework on how to do it. And then guess what? If you generate leads online, more phone calls, more contact points to your website, more business. You don't have to have the best thing. You just have to have the most leads. That's my whole thing. And this is why Glenn and leadership team brought me over, is because I know technology. I know marketing. And guess what? If you put that on top of the Verbella platform that Chris showed you, the company will grow, right? And therefore, EXP Commercial is one of the fastest growing national brokerages nationwide. And of course, wonderful partners like Com Loans and Villa Title are helping do so. Okay, so just meet your instructor. I always like to share a little bit about myself because you don't know me, right? And guess what? People like to buy from people they know, like, and trust. I'm not going to sell you anything. I'm going to add value to them. That's all I'm here to do, is add value. Okay, so my wife is an attorney, so you can understand a lot of back and forth we have. Right? You can't check. We have a 6-year-old husky, and this is my primary mode of transportation is a skateboard. Okay, we have electric cars, and we have cars and things like that. But I'm an old school skater, so if you see me a ramp in Huntington Beach, that's me. All right. I did my MBA at Seattle University. I studied both China and India, so I know exactly what's happening in business process outsourcing and also servicing outsourcing as well. Okay, a little bit about that. I'm also an entrepreneur. I had many businesses, all the way from a retail shop in Seattle, a large agency, and also a networking company where we basically service lawyers. Here's my why. Everyone should have their why. Why do I do this? He just turned 1 year old. This is Noah, and he's our first baby boy. I just got married 2 years ago, so there you go. All right, and in my spare time, I give back. This is my volunteer work. For 20 years, we've been teaching yoga and mindfulness to inner city youth in Baltimore City. So I came from Baltimore City. For those who don't know, it's a fairly violent place to live and grow up. Giving back is really important. Okay, so this is HLF. Of course, through a lot of our efforts, they've been on CNN, they've been on a lot of places. We're trying to get them on open. All right, my guarantee to you is this. I will give you the next 10 minutes of everything that I know in marketing, all concise and clear, so you can walk away with a playbook of how to dominate this open. All right, who would like that? Okay, all right, perfect. All right, thank you for that. Appreciate that. I appreciate the engagement. You don't have to spend 100 grand on an MBA like I did to get what I'm going to teach you. But shortcuts seldom work, right? I'm not going to teach you anything and you walk away and you're not going to be able to do anything with it, right? So this is just a screenshot of myself at the gym. I love this quote here. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. This is so important. I'm going to repeat it again, just because one of my favorite quotes, if you don't have that book, Atomic Habits, you should. Who has it? Of course. He's on it. I would probably, the same way that today to do that book and learn it and understand it, you would leave yourself a great search for yourself in your business. Atomic Habits. Real concept. Maybe you're starting with working out with me. He said, well, why don't you just put your vision on your head? Or maybe put small words around it. Maybe you put small things that will get you to that. Or maybe start to take that 4 times. Just 4 quick. Maybe you can do this. I could do about 75 now. Like I'm the rest of this stuff is down there. Like you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Okay, here's how I'm going to teach you the marketing system and how to grow brands really fast. And you're like, okay, Bernard, enough about you. Show me the money. And here's the money. Here's a simple lead generation system, how we generate 1,000 or more leads a month, TXP, and you can do it for your own brand, without having a marketing team, without having someone specialized like me. I'm going to show you the playbook. Here's what you do. You script a 30-minute presentation. Okay? Mitch delivered one great one today. You script it out, you turn on Zoom, and you record it. On your case study right now, this is a scripted presentation. Someone's recording it, and guess what? It's just going to turn into slides, and it's going to turn into social media posts. If you don't have anyone to create a beautiful design, don't worry about that. You can hire a user nephew, get a college student to do it. Get someone to focus on the design of it. Make sure it's aesthetically pleasing. But guess what? You're the expert at your unique ability. There's no one like you in this entire world. You have exactly what they need in your prospect needs. You have it in your brain. Script it out. Okay. Put it on a Google slide deck like this. Record the presentation. This is Zoom. Basically, this is about our business brokers, one of our brokers, and he's talking about how he grows his company, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You record it on Zoom, and guess what? You take that and you upload it to a company called rev.com. Have you ever heard of this? It takes that 30-minute presentation, and guess what it does? It transcribes each and every single word into text, right? And guess what you do with that text? And those text cost $1.25 per minute. There's an automated translator is 25 cents a minute or whatever. But guess what? You took a 30-minute presentation and now you have every single word written on text. You take that text, you give it to a writer. That writer you can hire on the text broker. You can use something called Upwork or Fiverr. But now you have 1,500, 2,500 words that are transcribed, and now you have 5 to 7 articles. You see how we took that 30 minutes and now we turned it into 5 to 7 articles, professionally written, all for a couple bucks. That's broken to do for $30, $40. You'll have a professionally written article written by professionally writers. Make sense? Yeah, you can choose them from like 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, all the way to 5-star writers. My favorite is around 4 to 5-star mark because you're really buttoned up, right? They can get your voice, they know your brand, and you can start working with that writer. But now imagine this, you as a business owner, broker, you now have your 30 minutes unique selling proposition, all into 5 to 7 articles. Guess what we're gonna do with those articles? We're gonna stick them into a blog post, and we're gonna make it look nice. Again, you put a graphic, you take that article that was written here, and you put it on paper. This one got shared 424 times. Imagine 424 times someone shared this article, it took me 30 minutes. Imagine the growth and imagine how much traffic you will get. If you had an article, anyone here has an article that shared 400 times, if you had one, you think the business would grow? Makes sense, right? What if you had 5 to 7 of these things? And it took you 30 minutes to do it. This is how you scale marketing without even thinking about it. Okay, you're saying, well, Bernard, I don't know how to do websites or blogs. Don't worry about that. Your whole goal is to get the content out your head and put it on paper and have it written in the format where professionals can read it and take it, okay? So a writer writes this. Of course, we have an amazing team that does this, but I'm giving you examples of how I create this whole structure on how this operates. Okay. Quick quote, there's only on earth to influence other people is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it, right? Right, so it's not about me, it's about you, right? So your content has to resonate with that person, right? There's an old school copywriter called Robert Collier. This whole thing is, you need to get into the conversation that's already happening with the prospect's mind. Right, that's how you think about marketing. I'll give you the framework right here. You might write this down. If you want to become a master marketer, that's my whole goal in 15 minutes, is teach you to become a master marketer. The framework is this, AIDA. AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action. Does your article grab their attention? Okay? Here's what I mean. Everyone on social media, guess what they do? They grab their phone and they just scroll, right? They scroll, they scroll, they scroll, they scroll. And guess what happens? Something stops them. And they're like, oh, let me read this. They click on it. It grabs their attention. You have to grab their attention. That's attention. A, interest, right? Did you my presentation is about how to generate leads online. Okay? Desire, you strike the desire. And guess what the last thing is? Action. It's a call to action. If you don't ask them for something, they're not going to give it to you. Okay? So what's my action? Fill out this form to get more information. Give me a call to get more information. What's your action? Right? Download this white paper, set up a demo for our software, get in contact with one of our reps. Call to action. AIDA model. Make sense? All right. Who is liking the information so far? Okay, good deal. Just want to check in with you all. Turn that social post, turn that article, those 5 to 7 articles into 15 to 20 social posts. All you need to do is grab a quote of that article. Now it's a quote. Okay. Copy and paste the first description of the article. Now it's a social post. Take a portion of that video that I asked you to record. Now it's a video snippet. You can take that 30-minute presentation and turn it into 50 to 20 social media posts. You have your entire marketing schedule. Remember this whole system? 30 minutes of 50 scripted. Now you have 30 posts, 5 to 7 articles. This is the mic drop I'm giving you. If you're not doing this today, why not? Right? Because a lot of people will just like, oh, what am I going to post today? And they sit there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. What am I going to post tomorrow? 15, 20 minutes. It is not scalable. Right? But imagine we take our team and we say every Thursday, we want 1 hour of our team, and we do this. And now we have content that lasts for the entire year. Right? Who can use this for their own brand? All right. Couple channels here that you'll notice is Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Top channels. Right now, what's trending, and we're really looking at it, is vertical video. TikTok is huge now. It is one of the most best algorithms that gets in front of buyers and sellers and prospects. So you all should probably start looking to that. But imagine we just took that 30 minutes and now it's a bunch of posts. Okay, time is running out. So here it is. Use a social scheduler. Take those 30 posts I talked about and spread them out throughout the year. All right. Now imagine that. Now we have those 30 posts. You can post every day. You can post every week. You can post all the way to December. But guess what? You're going to be on top of your prospect's mind every single day because of that 30 minutes you spent on Monday. Here's another thing I want to share about social media. If you're not doing social media, you're doing yourself a disservice. If you remember back in the day, you had to ads, very expensive, right? Most expensive advertising. Social media is free. Well, Grant Cardone says it's a drop in the bucket. Why not post? It's free. You can reach 10,000, 20,000, a million people just with one post, right? Well, maybe if you have a smaller network, a couple hundred, who cares? It's just a drop in the bucket. Why not post? Who posted today, by the way, about their business? Nobody. Okay. That doesn't make sense to me. If you're trying to get prospects, you need to post, right? Like doing, if you're not posting, how are you going to get more opportunities, right? And guess what happens with the posts? The posts, guess what they do? They basically lead back to your article, right, that we shared, and they lead back to a contact form on the bottom, right? They also lead back to the phone number on the bottom. So guess what? You're going to read this, and then it says to read more about EXP or whatever business you are in, click on this. That link goes to a contact form, and we get filled out. That's how we get thousands of leads. Okay. All right. Let's go up here. Step 8. You all are masters of this. I don't have to explain what the sales process is, but for B2B, it's long. The sales cycle is about 3 to 4 months on average for B2B. So generate the leads and follow up. You can put it for marketing automation system. We use HubSpot at a corporate level. There's other platforms out there. If you're an entrepreneur and you don't want to pay for the HubSpot, you can pay for like tons of MailChimp or Active Campaigns or any of those platforms out there. Okay, but generate the leads and follow up. Salespeople who regularly share content are 45% more likely to achieve quota. This is directly from LinkedIn. They did a whole case study. They have millions of people on this platform and are saying that if people share, if salespeople share, that 45% more will increase your business, right? How many times have you seen a company that you've been following, this online, out, and they post again, and there's a reminder again, and you reach out, and finally they just sell every single out. That's all you have time to having all this time. You have to be in front of your prospects, top of mind every single day. All right, here's the system. My 15 minutes is up. Script a 30-minute presentation. Create attractive slides on the social posts. We use Google Slides. Record your presentation on Zoom. If you want to get a little bit more fancier, you can use Riverside FM because it's high quality. And then the editors like it because they create 2 separate files and it's beautiful in HD, but Zoom does really well. Transcribe the content using rev.com, right? There's another platform called otter.ai, but use something. Just use something to transcribe the content. Turn that content into 5 to 10 articles. Use Text Broker, use Upwork, maybe an old school college professor or a son and daughter who knows how to write. Pull those posts into social media posts, right? If you want to make it look pretty, use Canva or give it to a designer. That's like the rule. You're not a designer, don't worry about it. Don't think about what should I create, what should I design. Have someone else do that, right? There's tons of people on Fiverr that will do that for Fiverr. Use a social scheduler called pick one. Get really good at it. Select the leads to follow up. Thank you. if you all want to reach out to me, I love the engagement. I'm located in Orange County. You'll find me on my skateboard. Here's my LinkedIn. Chris, thank you so much for the invite. I really appreciate it, sir. I hope I added value. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I've had a good day. I've learned new things. Great presentation on social media. Wouldn't you agree? Everyone say yes. And we're actually going to let you guys get out a little bit early. We are looking forward to seeing you tonight at 5:30 at El Torito, across the street from the airport. And if you have a few minutes, stick around, meet our guest speakers. Again, thank you, Villa Title, Com Loan, Bernard, and did I miss somebody? No, I don't think so. All right. Have a great day, everyone.